So before I trade a football match, what I do is ratings to decide how many goals are likely to be in a match. And I'll often post these ratings in the forum or on the blog, indicating matches that are likely to be high or low scoring. And I will trade off of those. And what you see here is a position put into the market at full stakes to trade under 2.5 goals on this particular match. And it's important for me when I look at a match that I understand how that could pan out, so I will use Soccer Mystic, which is our soccer profiling tool. So you can see in here what we're doing is looking at over and under 2.5 goals. I need to focus on under 2.5 goals. And I'm setting up Soccer Mystic to be able to do that. And you can see what will happen to the odds here as the match progresses. So you can see they start at odds of 202 and gradually get smaller and 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 smaller until the match goes on and hopefully ends under 2.5 goals. And basically you can see that's what the probability of this happening looks like. And that's what the odds look like. That's what will happen to the odds. Anything underneath that blue line is basically a potential profit. But of course, you know, if you can find a 0-0, that would be great. But it's inevitable that you'll often find matches where a goal has been scored. So if we enter a goal, we can see what impact that would have on the odds. So you can see here, the odds come down, the odds spring out, and then come back in again. So in this scenario, with a goal after 30 minutes, we'd be in profit for most of the match. And there's a tiny amount above the line there that you can see. That would mean that we couldn't get a profit at that point. But you can see by half-time, we're well into profit. So that area, this area here, they're all profitable positions, and there's only a tiny amount above that line that indicates that we would be at a loss for that small period of time. So you can see if we click once and click again, you can see it's about 5 minutes if there was a goal after 30 minutes where we would potentially be at risk in that particular match. So you can see here Soccer Mystic allows you to model where the odds are likely to be very efficiently. And that's pretty beneficial because that will allow you to indicate where you need to be in and out of the market. We also have a neat little area in Soccer Mystic called the over and under scenario. And this just basically, rather than present you with a graphical look at how the match will pan out, this actually provides you with effectively a commentary telling you how much you'd make if there was or wasn't a goal at any point in the match, and giving you an idea of the potential payoff. Now, it can never be 100% precise because there's many things that could happen in the match, and some of them unexpected. And it can't account for things like red cards and so on, but you can see you can play around with all of the different scenarios here to say, well, you know, if it doesn't go my way, what loss am I expecting to take at any one particular point, and how could that play out for or against me? So that's the benefit of having a tool like this, is whether you look at it visually or in the format that we look at here as well on the right, it gives you an option to understand what the scenarios would be. So you can see now that we've reached half-time. We can see that Spurs have scored, but you can still see that we're in profit. Everything's played out pretty much the way we expected. Spurs scored in the 27th minute. Coincidentally, we put in 30 minutes in our scenario indicator, so we're looking at a gap of about 5 to 7 minutes where we wouldn't have been in profit, but predominantly we've been in profit all the way through this match. And when you get to half-time, it's time to reassess exactly your trade. So we can cash out now for a profit of 130 or so pound. But whether we do or not could be determined by how much activity there is in the match. So you can see here, there's only been 1 shot on target, 9 shots in total. And using statistics at this point can give you an indication as to whether you think you should hold a position or whether you need to cash out. And doing this will allow you to maximize the amount of profit you've got. Because if a goal goes in the second half and there isn't a goal for some period of time, then you could still be in profit anyhow. So you would use stats at this point to determine whether you wish to continue your trade or not. And on this occasion, you know, maybe we could continue our trade because there's been very few shots on target. But if there were loads and we feel we've been lucky to get away with this trade, you'd probably exit at this particular point. So yeah, use stats to determine whether to continue the trade on to the second half or not. On this particular match, you can see that the odds came in, and the scenario that we saw in the first half continued in the second in terms of there wasn't much goal mouth activity. So we could have held this position for a long period of time. A little bit of activity late on when it looked like there could possibly be a goal. But even then, if the goal came late on, we would have been in profit anyhow. It wouldn't have really mattered to us that much. So yeah, using BetAngel, Soccer Mystic and some stats, you can pull off a similar trade.